Nottingham Forest 1, Liverpool 0. A huge result. Forest now up to 7th. And their first win at Anfield since 1969. It's Slot's first defeat, of course. First goal conceded for Liverpool this season. Forest defended quite astutely, didn't they? Kept Liverpool at arm's length. They were a little bit wasteful, you have to say. But that kind of laid the foundation for the second half and Forest playing their game, didn't it? Them defending so resolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see what an impact Milenkovic is having as a sign-in. Murillo obviously was superb last season. It's continued where he left off. And the fullbacks really contain Liverpool's wingers, which I think would have been an area that previously Liverpool would have thought they could target. I mean, I've seen Moreno for Villa. He's an excellent fullback, but he's very, very attacking. So you'd think that would leave quite a lot of space in behind for Salah to exploit. And actually, both fullbacks held their discipline so well and kept their wingers kind of on a string. There was one moment Diaz got through in the first half. But other than that, really, it felt like Forest were ready to kind of get themselves in the way of everything. They pushed that line deep and stayed together really, really well. And you're right, that was the platform to go on it and kind of take it late on, wasn't it?
Yeah, Forest, I mean, they did hold firm, and I think in the first half it was pretty much all Liverpool, and they needed to hold firm, really. And they were a little bit wasteful. I think Luis Diaz hit the post, didn't he? Probably should have scored. And Matt Sells, on the whole, had a decent first half, but he could have spilled it, couldn't he, Dave, and let it all go, despite all that hard work. But 34 touches for Liverpool in the opposition box, only 5 for Forest. But it was that clinical edge that made it count for Forest in the second half, wasn't it? They rode the luck a bit, but was this kind of the epitome, Dave, of Forest playing to their strengths?
I definitely think so. I think I agree with Miles. I think of Milenkovic coming in, I don't think it's much of a coincidence that defence seems to be a little bit tighter than it was last season when they were really struggling. I think a lot of fans will probably be raised. There'll be a lot of raised eyebrows at this result and thinking, the Forest fans, I think, before this game would have thought if we can get a clean sheet here, that I don't think anyone would have expected that, let alone a win. So I think they've come on leaps and bounds, and obviously undefeated in the league so far.
Yeah,
in the first 4 games, I think they're doing really well. And if you look at a couple of their additions they brought in, I think Anderson from Newcastle, and I think Ward-Prowse is actually a really, really clever signing. And if you looked at a couple of their moves in this particular game, if you look how quicker, they look to be moving the ball quicker for me. If you looked at that move where I think Elanga skied it, where that was breathtaking football. I thought
it was fantastic.
The way they just were able to pass the ball so quickly, and I just think that's probably more what I think Nuno probably had in mind last season. But we're also all of a sudden starting to see it come together a little bit better, and it's great to see Hudson-Odoi. Could he be pushing for the England squad? Because that's the sort of player that we all thought he would, that kind of level that he could get to.
Yeah, I think with Hudson-Odoi, he's got that kind of finish, especially in his locker. He's done it many times, hasn't he? And it was a beautiful finish. And like you say, the passing in the final third, Dave, for that goal was superb. And I think a few of the chances they had, like you said, Elanga could have probably scored a couple, couldn't he? He hit one straight at the keeper, skied one. And that's breaking at speed, I think, like you say, is the Nuno sort of trademark. I think that's what he's aiming for. But it's a dangerous game, isn't it, Miles, to kind of sit deep and defend for large parts, hoping to hold firm and then to attack at pace. But again, that's the archetypal kind of Forest model at the minute. And when it works, it's pretty impressive to watch.
Yeah, I think there will have been a lot of eyebrows raised at the idea that Hudson-Odoi and Elanga started this game on the bench because they're 2 incredibly talented players and they give Forest so much going forward. But coming on at that point in the game, sort of about an hour in, when Liverpool have kind of been trying to break Forest down for that long, it was perfect because it meant that the longer they kept the game at 0-0, the more space they were getting in behind on that counter. Yeah. I have to say, Gibbs-White, the way he orchestrates play for Forest and like the one-touch football that he's capable of and the way he brings those wide forwards into the game, he's outstanding. I think he's definitely another one, like Dave mentioned about Hudson-Odoi on the England doorstep. Gibbs-White obviously was in the last squad. He's known well by Carsley. He's such a talented player. And the ability of those 3, and Chris Wood even, has been far better than I think a lot of people thought he would be for Forest. I think he's been excellent. That's a really, really interesting front 4. And the quality that Forest have at their disposal there, maybe we all kind of underrated, because I think we were saying we worried for Forest at the start of the season and we were questioning whether Nuno was the right man for the job. And all right, let's not get carried away after 4 games. But this result wasn't just a smash and grab kind of win. It was a well thought out, methodical performance.
Yeah.
And that's what will give Forest fans a lot of encouragement. Not just wasn't this a great day out? It was a sign of good things, I think.